We just celebrated the most expensive Christmas in decades, with the Commerce Department just reporting that U.S. consumer prices rose 5.7% over the past year. This is not good. We have Congressman Jim Jordan, ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee and the author of Do What You Said You Would Do. Wow, I like that. And joins me. Merry Christmas, Jim Jordan, good friend. Happy
Merry
New
Christmas,
Year.
Harry. You too. Good to be with you.
I just want to make a point here. The inflation is self-evident, but it's probably, hopefully, going to stop this massive spending that Biden wants, make America a welfare entitlement state. But here's the risk. And Larry Summers, a Democrat, who sometimes gets it right. I mean, he says in order to stop this inflation, so it's near 6%, the Fed's target is 2%. So it's like 3 times their target. They're already behind the 8 ball. You could run the risk of a recession because you allowed the high inflation. I mean, to me, a recession, I mean, it was Biden inflation. It may be Biden recession. What you think about that?
Well, and also remember, Elizabeth Warren seems to be hinting at price controls, and we know what that'll do. That'll only exacerbate the problems we see out there. So, in simple words, I think the American people would like, they'd like safe streets, they'd like affordable gas, and they'd like freedom. Instead, what Biden's given them is record crime, record inflation, and Dr. Fauci. So this administration, as we've talked before, Larry, has done everything wrong. You pick the policy area, they've done it wrong. We went from, in literally 11 months, safe streets to record crime. We went from a secure border to complete chaos. We went from stable prices to now record inflation. We went from strength and projecting strength around the world to the debacle that was the exit in Afghanistan. So you name the policy, they've screwed it up. I'm afraid, based on what I heard from Senator Warren this week, they may even go the wrong direction on the economy, but let's hope not. And let's hope Joe Manchin stays firm and this crazy Build Back Better, so-called Build Back Better bill never passes.
Yeah, absolutely. Save America, kill the bill. But we also have these big culture wars. You and I have talked about it. You've been heavily engaged in these culture wars. The Democrats going far, far left with their crazy woke and critical race theory. I want to reopen this issue. Bette Midler, the actress, star, whatever she was, I haven't heard from her in 20 years. But she took a whack at Joe Manchin. I don't know if we can put that up on the full screen. All right. What Joe Manchin, who represents a population smaller than Brooklyn, has done to the rest of America, who wants to move forward, not backward. Now, here's the key line. He wants us all to be just like his state, West Virginia, poor, illiterate, and strung out. Now, Jim Jordan, let me just say factually, West Virginia has higher literacy rate than New York. And West Virginia is much more hospitable to business than New York. Yeah. But, this is the old deplorable thing, the Hillary Clinton deplorable thing, or the Obama, guns and religion. And this is where the left is today.
Yeah, no, they don't like us folks in flyover country. This is the attitude of the so-called elite. They all think they're better than us regular folks who I think actually make the country work. So, yeah, this is nothing. Remember when Peter Strzok, the guy who's helped spy on President Trump's campaign, remember that one text message when he said he was in the Northern Virginia Walmart and he said, I can smell the Trump supporters. So this is the disdain they have for regular people, the people that supported President Trump. And you see it time and time again. It's a double standard. Remember when Gavin Newsom, he got to go to the five-star restaurant while he was telling everyone in his state you couldn't have Thanksgiving with your family. Speaker Pelosi gets to go to the salon when she's telling everyone else you got to close your barbershop, you got to close your hairstylist, you got to close those businesses. So it's just the elite attitude that these so-called elites have and the double standard which drives us crazy. But yeah, that's the disdain they have for the people in, quote, flyover country.
Who are the backbone of this country and who are strong Trump supporters. By the way, I'm working hard to become a deplorable myself, or at least an honorary deplorable. Let me, I don't know if we have any sound or tape, but there's another crazy left-wing radical, Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut. Do we have some tape on that? All right. He speaks at the Communist Party rally in Connecticut, okay, helping to recruit and helping to praise it. Communist Party rally in the state of Connecticut, CP. Now, he does it, and then he realizes what a gaffe it was. And now, then he denies it. This is the thing, Jim Jordan. He denies it, and we've got all this tape showing this gal. Yeah. There's another guy who talked about how great it was that he was helping the Communist Party. This is while he was sitting there watching and then helping recruit. And then at the end, they once again made a pitch for the Communist Party. And he denies it, Jim Jordan. And I think that is part of, Joe Biden lies a lot. I don't know, this left-wing woke stuff, maybe you never tell the truth. Maybe he's going to get beaten for promoting communism. Do you know this story? What do you think about the Blumenthal story?
Well, look, the left now controls the Democrat Party, and the left has got us on this accelerated march towards communism. I mean, we can see where they want to go with their policies. So I think they nominated a person who studied in Moscow to control the currency, So I think the left now controls the Democrat Party, and they are socialists, the hard left that controls that major party. So it doesn't surprise me that Blumenthal would go there, but also it doesn't surprise me that Democrats want to have it both ways. They want to do one thing and say something else and try to fool the American people. They've been doing that for a long, long time. Joe Biden, remember, he's the guy who told us he was going to unite the country, and he's done anything but. So we never get a straight story from these guys. It's our job to tell the truth, to take the truth to the American people. And the good news is, Larry, I think the American people are figuring it out. They are figuring out how radical the Biden administration is. We saw it a few weeks back when it started with a few moms going to school board meetings. Then it turned into more moms. Then some dads got involved. And the next thing you know, Glenn Youngkin's going to be the next governor in the state of Virginia. You saw 12 brave jurors in Kenosha, Wisconsin say, we're going to follow the facts. We're going to follow the truth. We're going to adhere to due process. And they reached the right decision there. So I think this thing is turning. And the American people are saying time out to the craziness that has now just taken over the Democrat Party.
I agree. The public is in full revolt. Not just Republicans, independents also. Biden has the worst polls. You all are going to do very well next year. At least that's my hope. Anyway, Congressman Jim Jordan, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, old friend.
You too.